Welcome back to part 2. That's right. You guys had so many questions that we needed part 2 of our 20 questions with Kristie and Paige. So here we are.
Here we are. It had nothing to do with how long-winded we are.
Absolutely nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with that. Thank you so much for being here once again with us. If you want to stay up to date on our passion projects, you can follow me, Paige, writer and astrologer at Our Healing Spaces, and Kristie, life coach. Are we transitioning?
Yeah, life and health coach.
At A Strong Soul Wellness. So let's dive in already.
Who ended last time?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'll just go first.
I love that idea.
You went first last time, so I'll take one. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
What is one thing you want to accomplish or a place you want to visit within the next year?
Arizona.
Okay, awesome.
That's the place I want to visit. That is on one of the top things on my bucket list of places to visit. And yeah, I want to do some significant hiking, maybe find me a shaman out on top of some Red Rock Mountains. I don't know. Let's get weird. Let's go to Arizona. So
and I want to go with you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. So I can't say that. I would say Hocking Hills. But this asshole's going without me. So there's that.
I'm sorry. Listen.
This question is a little hard because I have just been I've been in the zone of taking it day by day, moment by moment.
Mm-hmm.
I just am really excited about where I'm at in my business right now.
Yeah.
And just nurturing it and growing in that aspect. I want to really be coaching more women from different walks of life. So yeah, just expanding in that regard. I'm just really happy and excited with where I'm at, and I'm not really attaching any kind of result or outcome or anything like that, just growing and reaching as many women as I can and just nurturing and loving them and guiding them in health and life and achieving their dreams and all things.
I love that. That is a beautiful accomplishment. Can you nurture and love me in the moment? I have a sick little baby, and so I did not get a whole lot of sleep last night. That is why I look
beautiful.
I just rolled out of bed and brought it with me.
It's okay.
But yeah, so I love that. That's a beautiful accomplishment. Good answer. Okay. What's a quirk that you have that most people might find odd or different?
Ooh, I'm supposed to answer, yeah. I'm not quirky.
I was going to say everything about myself.
One thing that there's a couple, but there's a lot. I would love for Rudy to answer this question about me.
We should have Rudy answer this question about both of us.
Yeah.
Phone a friend. But
we will. You don't shut the cabinet. I don't have time for that. One thing that I think everybody should do, I don't understand why I'm the only one that does it, but the way I open a banana, I open it upside down to most people, and I fold the stem as a handle because that's what monkeys do, and it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And I also eat the outside of my Snickers bar first.
That's weird. I can get behind the banana, but the Snickers bar, eating around the edge. Are you like a mouse or something?
I like to get all the chocolate off first.
Just eat chocolate.
You eat popcorn in bed, okay?
This sounds so messy.
It's not. I just.
Okay, I never want to hear you talk shit about me eating popcorn in bed ever again.
It doesn't get everywhere.
Ever.
I just mind my own business.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
That's quirky. That is quirky, and not everybody knew that. Not everybody knew that. I didn't know that. I do recall having to go to the gas station and like squish Reese cups to find the freshest ones.
Yeah.
For you.
Let me tell you.
So apparently you have a candy fetish. I don't know.
A candy bar fetish. Yeah. I mean, I can tell based on touching the Reese cup in the package if it is fresh or not. And if it's not fresh, I'm not wasting my money on it.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is quirky about me? I don't know. Like literally everything. The whole entire package.
I don't think so.
I don't know. That's a really tough one. Okay, we said quirky or what?
Quirky or like something that people
find odd or different. I mean, I'm an astrologer in Wolcott, Remington, Indiana.
Okay,
so like,
yeah, maybe
I just feel like in my location, in my community, that's very quirky and unique and different in the way that, you know, my crystals and sage and oracle cards and studying astrology and reading birth charts is all very different, very much like a massive part of my life and my lifestyle. So yeah,
I would still say popcorn in bed, but whatever. It's your question. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, because you literally have to listen to me talk all the time. Yeah, no. So yeah, that's probably what makes me like quirky and, and different. And yeah,
that's all right.
I like it. I like to be weird. I'm down with it.
Yeah, that's what I always tell my kids.
Yeah. Be weird.
Yeah.
Own it.
I almost got a shirt that said that the other day, but
we'll have to have Mammy make us some.
That's what I was thinking.
I like that. Mammy, we're putting you to work.
It's your turn.
It's your turn.
Okay. Get it together. Yell at me.
Get it together.
Ooh, who has been the most influential person in your life to date?
Well, that can be answered in many ways.
Yeah.
Who I felt influenced by probably the most on a personal level just throughout the last few years. I would probably have to say my personal astrologer, Jim. Yeah, Jim Bracken. He's like an incredible soul and has absolutely influenced so much of this direction that I've taken. The first time that I ever had my birth chart read was like the first time I truly felt seen. Like truly seen for who I was. And I remember afterwards just like feeling on fire. And so for somebody to give you that feeling or like offer that to you within a service, excuse me. Yeah, I just think that's a very special gift, and I will never be able to like thank him enough for that. And it's partly why I wanted to study astrology and become an astrologer myself, is to be able to offer that feeling through my services and like be a vessel for that. You know, like allowing people to find that within themselves and, you know, being a part of that experience. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I find this question really difficult, and I think probably a lot of people do. So something that, this is me taking kind of a different angle. I think also we can look at this question as, I want to say this correctly because I don't want it to sound negative, but people who are in your life that you maybe don't want to be like can also be influential. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I think sometimes we experience people in our lives, and, you know, we're around them, you know, whatever that relationship is, and there's something that it just, you guys don't connect, or there's something that maybe they do that kind of like bugs you in a way that you just don't want to be like. And I think it's really important to just, instead of getting, you know, like mad or, oh, I don't like that person, you can just be like, wow, they're really influencing me on ways in which I don't want to live my life, in ways in which I don't want to show up or to treat people. I think that you can look at this as there's both positive and negatives to everybody, right? But recognizing those people in your life that influence you in a way that, oh, actually, I want to live differently than they do.
Yeah.
I want to show up in the world and in life differently than they do. I think that can be really a beautiful and better way to look at those people rather than, I just, they're an energy sucker or whatever. Just being like, I'm going to take a lesson here.
Yeah.
So I like to look at that in both ways. I've had really important women in my life if I really reflect on it. And one of them was when I got pregnant at 18. I was 18 when I got pregnant. Right? Yeah. I was actually secretary at a church, and the pastor at that church at that time could not have been more open arms to me. Could not have, she just was so welcoming, and she just really made me feel safe and feel okay, because at that time in my life, I had really a lot of different views. So there was a lot of shame that I felt on myself, just being so young and, not married, all of those things that really don't matter. But at that time that I had shamed myself. And so she really was just so loving and caring. And then, after my daughter was born, experiencing grief, if it would not have been for her at that time in my life, I don't know that I would have been able to transition and take steps forward in the way that I did through grief and through all of that at such a young age. So I think she was a very pivotal person, especially in that time in my life.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
So, yeah, that's my take on influential people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's beautiful what you said in the beginning, because even the people that push us, or even the people that may trigger us, can be the greatest teachers of our life.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all cupcakes and rainbows to be influenced. Growth requires tension.
Absolutely.
Like there's friction there. And so appreciating that, I think, is like a really good perspective.
Yeah. I just like to look at it as, instead of not being able to show kindness to that person, to let it affect your energy or let it affect your day, just to take it as, this is just a lesson.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That go with the flow energy.
I love that. All right. What do we got next? What is your biggest pet peeve?
You.
Tell me, what's your biggest pet peeve?
Okay, listen. I am not the only person that has it is a issue. It is a phobia. It is real.
Awareness is the first step.
I cannot sit next to a person who is chewing food or sometimes breathing too loud. I can't do it. There is something about the noise of somebody just chomping away on their food that I can't handle.
Tell me how to eat carrots quietly, please. And tell me how to eat carrots or chips outside.
That's where you go if you need to eat those things, or cereal.
She will literally, if I'm chewing gum and I don't realize it and I start making any noise, she's like, nah, spit it out like a mom. She's like, she's done that since we were in high school.
And it's a real issue. I have to live with this every single day of my life. In a house full of people, okay? A small house full of people. It takes great effort to remain sane.
I'm just saying, maybe we are not the problem.
I am not the problem.
Yeah. Okay.
You people,
we're the problem.
Chomping on your food, it's too much. I can't do it. I can't handle it. It's a full body experience.
I can't wait to release this because I have so many videos of me annoying the shit out of her. Freaking just
because she hates me. I just can't do it.
It's okay. I'm sorry. I will try to be more respectful of your issues.
Yeah. When's that going to start?
Tomorrow. Definitely tomorrow. On Monday. It'll start on Monday. I'll start on Monday. Sure. Okay, what is my biggest pet peeve? I don't know. That's hard.
I must be an asshole because that wasn't hard for
I don't know if I have an obvious pet peeve, though.
What's something I do that you don't like?
Nothing.
I mean,
man, okay, pet peeve. Okay, I think probably one of my biggest pet peeves is just the first thing coming to me, so I'm going to say it, is when you are talking to somebody and having a conversation with them and they just, like, get on their phone. Like, and they start getting on their phone, and they're like, yeah, I'm listening. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're not listening.
Yep.
That makes me crazy. Or if, like, you're in the middle of talking about something and then somebody just, like, completely, like, cuts you off and changes the subject. And I don't mean, like, in a fun, like, environment. It's like if you're trying to have a serious conversation and somebody, like, cuts you off or just completely deters the conversation. Yeah, the whole phone thing. Like, if I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody and they, like, whip out their phone and they're like, yeah, that
or TV.
That irks my,
like, let's communicate face-to-face, people. We have lost that skill in society.
And I know this about myself, that if I'm on my phone or if the TV is on, I cannot focus on what you're saying. So I have to, like, put it away, which is probably why it's a pet peeve, is because it's something that I used to do, like, without awareness. And so, like, recognize it. Typically the things that irritate you and other people might be some of the things that you do.
I don't chew loudly.
How do you know?
Normally.
How do you know? No, I'm just kidding. But in some cases, it's like the things that irritate you can be some of the things that you used to do, or maybe, whatever.
There's always a mirror. There's always, like, a reflection there.
Yeah, and so I think for me, whenever I do not feel like somebody is really paying attention, and I now, instead of shaming myself for that, I'm just like, I might not have the capacity to focus on this conversation right at the moment. Or I have to turn the TV off. But yeah, Macy gets in front of that TV and her ears turn off. Yeah. Like, there could be a tornado and she would just be like, what happened? Oh,
yeah, same for Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy.
Get it together.
Okay. Are you good? Yeah.
A long range around. If you were stranded on a desert island, I almost said desert.
Is it spelled desert?
I don't know. No. I don't think so.
Desert has 2 S's.
And you could only bring 3 items. What would they be?
I would bring I don't know. I feel like I want to be smart about this. What would I bring?
I'm just thinking, please don't say me. Please don't say me.
A coffee pot? No, but I wouldn't have electricity, so what am I going to do with that? I guess a box of instant coffee. Like a really big box. A really big box of coffee. A really big box of instant coffee. That's all I got. Maybe I'm bringing 3 boxes of coffee. I don't know until I die. A blanket, a cozy blanket. Yeah, there's 2 things. And then I don't know. What else do I need? I need water. Maybe a water filter. Smart. So I can, like, still stay hydrated. And then I'll have to just, like, forage for my food. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Me out there wrapped up in my blankie with my instant coffee, foraging I just, you know what? I probably shouldn't go to a deserted island. How about
How about that?
that? Okay, you go. You do better.
Probably your camper.
That is true.
It's got everything we need.
But again, you can't plug it in.
It's okay.
You don't have electricity on a deserted
It's
island.
okay. It'll still keep me protected.
Okay.
And I'll have pots and pans that I can, start a fire to cook food.
There you go.
So your camper.
Okay.
Books.
No, but see that I thought books too, but I'm not just gonna. What am I gonna do? Bring one book? Download a shit ton of books on like a Kindle.
You probably don't have service. I'm still bringing a book. And protein powder because I'm not eating fish. I'll eat the berries, but I'm not eating fish.
We would not survive. Do not.
I run a camper. Notice that we didn't say a boat because we don't necessarily want to get off.
No. Like, how can I make myself the most comfortable there by myself? But yeah, books. Like, figuring out how to get books there. But see, if you download them onto like a Kindle or something before, then you don't need internet.
Okay.
So then we could have like a whole library of books.
Okay.
All right, so maybe I'll change mine.
No, you can't steal mine. Or if we end up stranded together, at least
we'll have coffee, a camper, something to read,
and one blanket.
endless entertainment. It'll be in one blanket. You have to snuggle me.
No, your camper has other stuff. It'll be fine.
Okay, we're off the rails.
Okay, go.
Okay. Oh gosh. What is your favorite trait of each other? Please tell me all the things you love about me.
No, I'm just kidding. There are many things. I'm not just saying that. There are many things, but I think, oh gosh, yeah. I would say I notice you make so many people feel comfortable and safe. And I think that's something that's really beautiful. Like, you just allow people the space to feel just safe and comforted, and they can come to you and kind of word vomit without judgment, which I think is a really beautiful thing.
Oh, thanks.
So, yeah, you just have a comforting presence, and that's really important in such a noisy and chaotic world that we live in.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that a lot. So one of my favorite things, obviously there is many, but one of my favorite things about you is, like, I guess the best word to describe it is resilience. Mm-hmm. Is because, like, looking at all the things that you've been through in this life and not allowing those to define you, I think is a really beautiful trait, because a lot of people really could have allowed them to define them. A lot of people do allow things like that to define them in this life. And I think it takes a load, like an extremely magical amount of resilience to be able to take everything that you've been through and come out of it the strong woman that you are, and be able to also offer that to other women. So it's very inspiring. Yeah.
It's so weird to hear about women.
I know, right?
That is better about it.
We are. We really are. Because that isn't that an interesting thing, that how hard it is to receive compliments. I have been terrible at it for many, many years of my life, and I think it's because it always made me feel like selfish or conceited or self-centered or whatever those things are. And so it really hasn't allowed me to value the kind things that people say to me. I think some of that is because it gets diminished by, toxic masculinity and like their views of, women's bodies and their looks and things like that, and that only being the thing that they value. But it also takes away when someone's giving you a genuine compliment about, your physical appearance or a new outfit or the internal stuff. And so, yeah, I think that is definitely a skill. It's definitely something we could talk about on here, but it's definitely a skill that I've been trying to get better at, and like allowing myself to truly absorb compliments in a genuine way. And then also like giving genuine compliments, like not stopping myself from giving genuine compliments to other women and even men too. Yeah. You know, just like everybody in general, like really just trying to give genuine compliments and then really absorbing the compliments that I'm given.
Yeah, I think it's something that we both have actively been, I mean, we've had lots of conversations about it and just trying to be better at. And yeah, being genuine in the compliments that you give as well. Not just one that's, you know, out of habit or just because somebody says something nice to you. It's like, oh yeah, I like your outfit too or something. But genuinely, you know, finding a compliment and voicing it. So yeah, I think it's important to appreciate compliments and just allow them to settle in you and to appreciate people acknowledging those.
Yeah.
So thank you for seeing those things about me.
Yeah. Thank you for seeing those things about me and for being vulnerable enough to like share them. Because I think that's another thing too, is like, I don't know, we can sometimes prevent ourselves from saying things that we really want to say. I don't know if it's a fear of like being too much or seeming too needy or, you know,
over the top.
Yeah, like whatever it is, but it's just like, no, I just want to be genuinely kind. And if I notice that someone looks, you know, really pretty that day, I want to mention it. If I notice somebody being really kind or, you know, something that honoring people's bravery too, you know, just like all of those different things. And I think that, you know, as we move through our healing, being able to absorb those nice things that other people tell us. And then, you know, I used to always joke like, thank you, ? Yeah. You know, like how awkward it would feel. But it's just like, no, like, thank you. Yeah. Like, thank you. Yeah. And then sometimes even starting the conversation of like, I'm really bad. Like I've been really bad at taking compliments in the past and I'm working on it. Yeah. You know, because that like can start an actual conversation, especially with women. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that like rings so true for so many of us.
Absolutely. I love it.
I love it too.
Thank you.
Okay, wait, it's your turn to ask. Are we down to 2?
Yeah. How did you guys meet / become friends?
Oh dear Lord, this is going to take the last 30 minutes. 30 more minutes. Okay, so I'll tell kind of like my perception of it, and then you can just add too. Is that kind of how you go about it?
Sure.
So I would have been, when we first met, I would have been in like 4th grade? I mean, elementary school, like 4th or 5th grade.
Maybe it was 4.
Like I would have been in 4th grade, you would have been in 5th grade. And just like having, like my elementary school childhood best friend was Kristie's little cousin, Lindsay. And she is unfortunately no longer with us. But her and I were inseparable, like all through elementary school and middle school. And so being close with her kind of led me to being close with you. And so, yeah, I think that was definitely, you know, the catalyst for us meeting. And then as we grew up, I mean, we became friends really when we got into high school. Yeah. Both cheering on the same cheer squad and like had the same circle of friends. But I don't know, I just feel like I always looked up to you. Like I always looked up to you when we were little. Like I just always thought you were so cool. I mean, come on. But yeah, I did. I always looked up to you. And so I was just always drawn to your energy. And I feel like we had a group of friends that was like a really close group of friends. And some of that was very healthy and some of that was not healthy. And so I think because of that unique experience, as we got older and we got into high school, I don't know, I guess my feelings around it is that I just always felt like we could count on each other. Even when things got messy or even if like there were other people that were creating drama. I mean, it's high school. Yeah. You know, creating drama. We never had like, I don't know, there was just always like this sacred thing between the two of us that I think we just always knew was going to be there. Yes. and we trusted it. You know, it's like we never went after the same boys. We never, like, that was just like, absolutely not. Like, there was just like this sisterhood that was born between us, and there was a lot of chaos in that time. And I think that, I don't know, we were just kind of maybe like each other's safe haven in that sense. Even when, I don't know, even when we would go different directions for short periods, you know.
Which you need that.
Yeah. We always just came back to each other, and I think we just always knew that it would be there.
Yeah. No, and I mean, we both have brothers. We didn't have sisters, and we always joked that had we been born as sisters, we probably wouldn't have survived.
Our parents wouldn't have survived.
But yeah, I remember you, like, you know, only a year younger than me, but just this cute girl with this gap in her teeth, and that I had too, and just, you know, wanted to kind of take her under my wing as if I was so much older. But I remember a memory that sticks out is me getting to help with your, like, cheerleading tryouts when you were in grade school. I think I, you know, moved up to the middle school, so I got to come. But yeah, just taking that journey. You know, there can be a lot of drama, chaos, superficial relationships, and, you know, terrible boys, you know, just it not blaming, not saying, you know, it's always boys, but we experienced some terrible boys in our young life that really had potential to just steal a lot of our light. And so I think for me, because I am more introverted, being able to have one person that I knew I could count on no matter what, like, just that it was like that constant. It was always there. And there wasn't, I don't remember us feeling like we had to compete with each other.
No, which is so interesting for us, like, to be as young as we were when we met.
Yeah. Because now you inspire me. You know, there's not competition. It's like, ooh, that you inspire me and, you know, make me want to be as authentic as I can. But even as we were younger, there wasn't really, I don't remember a feeling of competition necessarily. But unless somebody else was trying to take the best friend status, you know, like, excuse me.
Excuse me. Did I give you permission to have another friend?
But I do remember you looking up to me, and sometimes I would feel like I didn't deserve that sort of, like, pedestal or, like, expectation. But I feel like that's, like, mellowed out where we're just so together that it's not like you necessarily need to, like, look up to me or me look up to you. It's just pushing each other to grow and to expand.
Yeah.
But then after high school, we went through really, really hard things that adults, you know, people double our age don't go through. Losing somebody that was, you know, somebody that I was in love with, who was also somebody that you had been friends with
my entire life.
Yeah, that I had known most of my life, was an experience that most 19-year-olds don't go through. And so for me, and having Emily,
oh God.
Well, so getting through that, I wouldn't have gotten through that without you. So that's all.
That's all. Yeah. Mic drop. Okay.
That is a topic for another time that we'll get into.
Yes.
But building such a strong connection with somebody through different stages of life is a really beautiful journey. And so when you go through those really, really dark times and hard times, you have somebody that's always going to pull you out. Cut.
Pause. No, like, I agree. I mean, and, you know, you being there for me through the versions of grief that I've had to travel has just been something that's, it's really special. It's really special. And you know, we talk about it a lot, and we talk about how so many women don't have the opportunity to experience that. But it's interesting, you know, looking back on it from the very beginning, like, all of the things that could have pulled us apart, you know, it's like, I don't know, our relationship is probably one of the things I'm the most proud of in my life.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it's not easy. You know, relationships aren't easy. The world is not kind to women, and
especially women who are connected. You know, people kind of fear that sometimes.
Yeah.
That can be a force.
And it's like they would rather us compete with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like you were saying, not ever feeling that energy of the need to compete.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have to disagree. You always deserved me looking up to you because you were always so kind. Like, you were always so kind. You were never one of those, like, even though you were just a year older, you were never one of those girls that looked down on anyone. You know, you're very, even though being more introverted, you know, putting on the face of trying to be extroverted, you were never unkind. And I think that is probably something that also is like what drew me to you, that you, you didn't want people to fear you in that sense. And a lot of girls, I think, in high school, it's like when you're insecure, you would rather people fear you a little bit of like, what will you say? What will you do? And, you know, I know we experienced that a little bit with some people when we were young. And, like, I think that was something that was just really special about that time. And as we've grown older and been through such, you know, I mean, hard things, having the steady constant of like a safe place to land is a really special thing. And to have the hard conversations and to feel distance when, you know, we both have gone through things, but then always knowing, like, I don't know, like always knowing that no matter where the growth takes us, we'll always like be connected.
Yeah, it's like there's always going to be some sort of thread.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have to take their own journeys, and a lot of times in different directions. And I think that's really important. Just like we talk about friction creates growth, that creates growth in relationships.
Yeah.
You know, we probably when we were younger, we were, you know, tried to be a lot like each other.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. You don't, you know, the world needs us to be who we are meant to be. And I think us taking different routes and different journeys, anytime there's any distance, it will end up creating a stronger bond.
Yeah. Allowing each other space to grow.
Yeah.
You know, I think is super important in friendships and lifelong friendships. Because if you don't allow somebody space to grow, then, you know, you can just, like, you don't want to make somebody that you love, you don't want to keep them small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even if you don't realize that you're doing it, if you refuse to grow, then it's really easy to not want the people around you to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's true.
so I think it's like really special too that for both of us, we chose the path of growth, and then allowed each other that space, even when we were young. Like, it's just crazy. Like now, like all these memories just coming up of like high school and, you know, our early 20s. And it was like every single time when it came down to it, we really did choose to grow, even if it got messier along the way.
Yeah.
And it led us to this moment, to this place, to be creating what it is that we're hoping to create. So look at that.
I think I've always kind of said, you know, I'm just like a dreamer, like head in the clouds. And I think that's in essence kind of what we both have been. It's like this, you know, idea and dream of just continuing to move forward because we're meant to. Like there's something meant for us. And, you know, that's it. For me, that's an exciting way of living. So choosing the path of growth is important. And being able to allow the other one to fall down and to lay down with them, like not to force them back up when they're not ready. I think that's been part of our journey too. So.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, for sure.
Not emotional.
Didn't expect to cry.
Well, yeah, what the heck? Keep it together. Oh, yeah. I know, I'm like.
Next question.
Okay. Let's move along. Well, what has been the greatest catalyst for change in your life? And this is our last question.
I'm very distracted after
I know the little trip down memory lane.
Yeah, the little trip.
I literally am just imagining us riding around in your red Grand Am and that silver flip phone that you had. I don't know, that visual is in my mind, going to Lafayette and I don't know, working in the fields, like you were saying, boys and friendships and cheerleading and just the fun stuff and the silly stuff and the stupid stuff and
but really pretty innocent. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just taking that. I don't regret our teenage experience.
No,
aside from wasting time and energy on boys. So if there's young girls listening, or if those boys are listening,
invest in your friendships, invest in yourself.
Yes. Don't worry about boys or girls.
Yeah, I think that is
it's part of it.
But also invest in yourself, especially. And looking back, we did, like you were saying, kind of mirroring each other. It's just you mirror the trends, you mirror the people around you and things like that. But I don't know. I really feel learning how to have honest communication should be a class taught to freshmen in high school.
That would have been great. Would have saved me a decade.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Decade of work.
Let's do it.
So. I like
not us, but
somebody else.
Yeah,
I'm not.
We're done. Just trying to teach my kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, catalyst for change.
I would say there's really been a lot. Again, it's choosing that growth. Every time I have had something to knock me on my ass, and the last one was very personal, and it's not necessarily something that I want to share or talk about, but it was, after deciding to go full-time with my business, and then something personal came up that I wasn't expecting. It was that feeling of your feet being knocked out from underneath you. But from that, I realized my validation was in other people, that I had a very low self-worth, and I had, done work, and I thought I had gotten there, but it really showed me the true picture that I really, really needed to work on myself and to love myself in a way that people couldn't take from me based on what they decide to do or what they decide to say. That's on them. And really, really learning that, I've been able to find just, I validate myself. I don't need other people to validate me. Yes, it's great to receive it, but I don't need that anymore. I can find that for myself. My self-worth is not in the outcome of my business. It's in how I show up and how I feel about myself. And I don't know that I would have gotten to this place had it not been for getting knocked on my ass. So really those valleys, those points in your life where you just feel like you're in the dark and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, can really be something that you can find reason in it. I don't want to say that you needed, because nobody wants to experience those lows, but you can really find something true to hold on to that can guide you into a just deeper way of living.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
I know that's kind of vague, but
that's beautiful. No, yeah. I think, I don't know, I feel like I come back to this so many times, over and over again, but it's just it was such the starting point for me. When I took alcohol out of my life, when I made that choice, influenced by your, so how it happened, Kristie was like, I'm going to do this 75-day challenge. Do you want to do it with me? She told me all the things about it, and I was like, well, I definitely can't do that, but I can maybe do a softer version of it. And when she first presented it to me, I was like, I'm not going to not drink for 75 days. Are you nuts? And then I had a couple of experiences at the end of the year where I felt a lot. I mean, I always felt a lot of shame around drinking the next day. My body, like, viscerally felt that. But I finally was like, you know what? Like, I think I am going to do it. I think I'm going to give it a shot. And so going into the 75 days, like, no alcohol and a few other, like, the other things that I decided out of the challenge that I had the capacity for. And that led me to so many changes within my life. I mean, it led me literally tumbling down the mountain, and falling flat on my face, realizing and waking up. I imagine it and I visualize it as like this veil lifting. You know, number one, like the physical response to my body, the things that got better, but then also like the ways in which I became aware that I was so emotionally dysregulated. And so, yeah, like going alcohol free absolutely was one of the biggest catalysts of change in my life. And I encourage anybody who thinks or is curious about living an alcohol-free lifestyle. I am always open to those conversations. So even if you just have a curiosity around it, absolutely zero judgment on the choices that you make for your life. I just know for me, once I made that choice, it was not easy and it was not easy to stick with, but there was just something inside of me that was like, okay, I think I'm going to go 6 months. And I'm going to hit a year. And then after that year, it was like, I mean, here we are almost 3 years later.
Yeah.
And it just really came to this point of like, why would I want to drink again when I feel so much clearer without it? And not everybody has, like, you know, I have a little bit of an addictive personality. So, and it's not necessarily even addicted to the substance. It's the addiction to the feeling. Yeah. But that feeling, even though like you get addicted to that feeling, that little, like, you know, that surge of serotonin and dopamine and that little high there, that buzz, the fallout and the shame spiral that came afterwards when everything bottomed out was just so detrimental to my spirit. And so I think that for me, that was why it had to, you know, why it is the choice that I continue to stick to. But yeah, it's different for everybody. That choice and that relationship is different for everybody with all things, but it definitely really was the catalyst for the biggest change in my life. It really woke me up to what work I needed to do within myself. And that work and that healing has been a whirlwind. It has not always been pretty. It has not always been easy, but it has definitely always been worth it in the end.
Yeah, and getting to witness that journey has been really beautiful. And I'm just so proud of you to go on that journey, to make that decision for yourself, and to really push aside other people's opinions and thoughts and questions and the environments that, you know, sometimes that we're a part of. Being able to just stay true to yourself, I think, is something that's so inspirational, because there's so many messages in the world about conforming and not being true to ourselves, and preventing us from finding that truth in ourselves. Because, you know, I think the more that we do that, the more that we lean into that, is when we can create a really change in the world, even if it's just this small ripple between us and our community and the people that we interact with. That's where it starts, is when we stay true to ourselves, when we find that truth. And so just watching you take that journey has been so beautiful and something I'm so proud of.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I feel very fortunate because of like our relationship, you know, taking that journey and staying on that journey has been scary.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of opinions about it. obviously still now, but like having our relationship, you know, it's nice when I like having relationships in my life that make me feel safe enough to be like, okay, even if, you know, somebody else doesn't understand, I don't necessarily need their validation, but you know, it's still nice to have that safety of like, you know, people really truly honoring you for who you are and not for, you know, who they think you should be. And so I feel very fortunate, you know, to have you and to have other people in my life that support that and love me and have loved me through that and have, you know, kept me inspired to remain on that path and not made me feel different or, you know, small for that choice. Like it's that energy, that ripple effect, you know. It's not like I'm out here trying to convince everybody to make the same choice, but it's just like allowing myself to show up and be myself and then having people in my life that love me and support me and like lift me up through that. So it's great. It's great.
I love it.
I do too. Look at us. I know.
I didn't expect this to be a cry. Remember we said this was going to be easy.
It's that freaking solar eclipse, man. It's also why I'm like, I feel like the moon like plugged into me. It's just like psyching out my energy.
That's right. We'll take you however. So
yeah, no, this is great. This is wonderful. I think that this was so fun. If you guys have any topics that you want us to touch on, anything that we have talked about, more about our relationship and friendships and how to maintain friendships, about living alcohol free, about starting your own business. I mean, any of the things, you know, we do have some plans to touch on our grief stories that is to come, but anything that you guys hear us mention or talk about and you're like, I would like to know more, and about how you approach that or how you know, navigated through that, please feel free to reach out. We love hearing from you. This was so fun. Thank you for always like taking us as we are and meeting us where we're at.
And all the messy.
Yeah.
So thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. We would love for you to share with anybody that you think you want to share these two crazy girls with. Think that somebody might find some inspiration. Please feel free to do that. Yep, our DMs are always open. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and Facebook. Paige is at Our Healing Spaces. I am at A Strong Soul Wellness. And we're just very open for conversation. So come say hi, especially if you're coming from watching this video. Make sure you come say hi on social media.
Yes, we love that.
All right.
Bye.